The 2026 NFL Draft just ended, and that means it is time to talk 2027 mock drafts. We'll do this once. We won't do it again until the season's over, but they have all come out, including some major publications, including Bleacher Report, Dane Brugler from The Athletic, PFF, Sports Illustrated, Yahoo. And although they all had different positions for the Browns draft picking, or where the Browns will pick in the draft, there was a common theme. They all had the Browns taking a quarterback. Bleacher Report had the Browns taking Lenora Sellers out of South Carolina, 4th overall. Dane Brugler, go back, Steve. Way too early. Way too early. I was only on the first one I was reading. Come on. I told you the exact words I was going to say when I need you to switch the graphic. I didn't even get close to saying it. Lenora Sellers, 4th overall. In Bleacher Report, Dane Brugler had the Browns taking Dante Moore, 3rd overall. PFF had the Browns getting Arch Manning at number 4 overall. Sports Illustrated had Lenora Sellers going 5 to the Browns. Yahoo had Notre Dame quarterback C.J. Carr going 7th. You could look at some of these mock drafts and just pick the Fox one as an example, because I didn't include the Fox one in the graphic. In this particular instance, they had the Browns taking Sam Levitt 4th, ahead of a guy like Jeremiah Smith, who went 5 in this instance, and Colin Simmons going 6th, the premier edge rusher out of Texas. So, Earl, it's kind of a two-part question, but A, could you ever see the Browns passing up on a guy like Jeremiah Smith if he's on the board? And B, is quarterback still the number one need in your mind, like all the early, way too early 2027 mock drafts suggest?
So, to answer the second part of that, no, I couldn't see the Browns pass it up on Jeremiah Smith, but that would be dependent on what their quarterback situation is. To be honest with you, man, I think this is a disingenuous topic because we have not even played a damn game yet in 2026, and it's hard to project for me what it's going to look like. This clearly tells me that they don't believe in the Browns' current quarterback room. They don't think that Shedeur Sanders, given the opportunity, will show enough that the Browns won't draft a quarterback in 2027. That's their opinion. I'm to be determined on that. I just think, I would personally like to see it play out, see a couple games play, halfway through the season maybe, to get an evaluation on whomever the starting quarterback is before I start talking about, okay, this is what the Browns are going to do or how it's going to look like. Todd Monken talked about he's trying to win. Everybody is talking about winning. If those things align with what Todd Monken wants to be, then the Browns probably won't be picking in the top 10 anyway. But I always look at these way too early mock drafts to come out before we even take a snap in this current season as a bit disingenuous. That's just my opinion, though.
Well, disingenuous or not, I think it's sort of the reality and probably more realistic based on what we've seen. I mean, certainly these guys who are here now, Deshaun, could win the job, could play okay. Will he play well enough to earn a second contract? I'd probably, gun to my head say no. I don't think it'll happen. Shedeur, yeah. I mean, he's going to have every opportunity to play and compete for the job and try to win the job and try to be the starting quarterback for the future. Again, gun to my head, will it happen? I'll say I think it's more likely he won't be the starting quarterback for the future than he will, but he certainly can be. And obviously these conversations it's April 29th.
Yeah.
We just had the draft a couple of days ago, so it's how the news cycle works, man. We're just trying to get some clicks and trying to have a conversation about, where the Browns could go next year. They didn't draft a quarterback high in this year's draft, so Deshaun's on your roster. You got a 5th-round pick, a 6th-round pick, a 3rd-round pick, all of whom are relatively unknowns in the league right now. So I don't think it's crazy to think that the Browns will draft a quarterback very high in 2027.
Everybody loves a good mock draft.
Mock!
It's unbelievable. I sense two themes with that list. One, the Browns are going to be drafting high, and 2, they're going to be taking a quarterback. That's the general consensus nationally. Mm-hmm. Earlier, you look like you want to stab me for saying that.
No, my whole thing is just, I get it. It's our job in the media to be prepared. Behind the scenes, I'm prepared. Mike could tell you, like 2 seasons ago, before we even drafted Shedeur, I'm watching the Browns season. It's our job to start looking at quarterbacks who might come in. And for people who are draft experts to do that, that's their job as well. That's all cool behind the scenes. But for what we do, like Justin said, I mean, it's April. It kind of feels like, we just trying to feel time when we're bringing it so public so soon.
I think seeing that list is a cold slap of reality of where people see the Browns to a lot of Browns fans. Because I think a lot of Browns fans look at this and say, sort of what you said at the end of your opener, Well, they're not going to be drafting the top 10. I think a lot of Browns fans actually feel that way. Am I off on that? You guys think I'm crazy on that?
No, I don't think you're crazy about that.
I think you're right.
I think Browns fans feel like we will not be drafting in the top 10 next year.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but I think they are. But I think the vast majority of Browns fans feel like this is a good football team now, and they're going to win a lot of games and compete for
I don't
the
think
playoff
that's
spot.
far off. If you take in consideration everything that's been said this entire offseason, from Jimmy Haslam to Andrew Berry and then Todd Monken when he took over, like, that's enough to make fans buy in. That's enough to make fans believe. The first thing Jimmy Haslam said is he felt like that even last year it was enough talent to win more than 5 games. So if you project those players taking a step forward, if you look at the talent that was added this year, and then if you are somebody who get emotionally revved up hearing Todd Monken talk, it's easy to kind of like buy into, okay, the Browns can win more games than when they won this previous season and possibly not be picking in the top 10. So, no, I don't think you're far off saying that, and I can understand the reason why people feel that way.
So what do you think? Do you think they're picking in the top 10 next year?
No.
You don't think they are?
No. Somebody asked me right now, well, it depends on what the top 10 are, but like, you know, me, Tyvus, and G talked about this last week. I can realistically see the Browns winning about 9 games, 10 if they're lucky, and I'm not sure if 9 games. It's my opinion, Dustin. That's just my opinion. 9 games. I don't think 9 games, if you was to win 9, that gets you in the top 10.
What was it this year? So picking 10, Cincinnati. How many games did Cincinnati win? I don't remember.
6 or 7. I'll pull up the standings right now.
So if they win 7, they're probably out.
Cincinnati won 6 games.
All right, so if they win 7, they're out of the top 10, most likely.
You know what their over/under is in Vegas? It's 6.5. So they're right on that top 10 range.
You taking the over or the under? 6.5.
6.5 under.
Under. Yeah, I think I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, they're a 5-6 win team.
I think so too. I think people get hung up on the 5 wins last year, and they're like, they should have won more. I mean, Jimmy said they should have won more. I think that's insane. When you look at the way they won the last 2 games, they won them. Full credit to them for winning them. I don't know if that's
There's going to be rookies playing all over
yes.
the roster.
I mean, they're going to have undrafted guys make this 53 again. So they're going to be incredibly young. When you look at, like, you can say they should have won. They should have beat the Jets, and I agree. They should have beat the Jets. They could have beat Minnesota.
But you could also say they shouldn't have beat Green Bay.
That's exactly it. They were gifted the Green Bay game. They stole that one. They scored 2 defensive touchdowns to beat the Bengals. Like, the offense did nothing.
They shouldn't have beat the Steelers either, if we're being totally honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they earned the win, but it's not like that.
But this is the NFL. Like, you win games you shouldn't win, and you lose games you.
Our defense carried us last year, and do people forget we don't have that coordinator anymore? Like, so yeah, I think the defense will be good. A lot of the same personnel are back. We've got new pieces with rookies, but it's a new system. Like, I don't know that they're going to have that many turnovers, and Miles is going to have another historic season where he had 1 million sacks. Like,
you're counting on everything to go exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're counting on everything to go the exact same way it did last year in terms of our defense, well, what about our offense? I mean, we have all new players on the offensive line. We have all new players at receiver. You know, who knows what's going to happen at quarterback? I think that to get to 9 or 10 wins, like, I mean, you know how hard it is to get to, you know, above 500 in this league. It's hard to win just a game, let alone 9 or 10. We also know
that NFL is built on parity. It's built for turnover like that.
Sure, but like we don't have a big upgrade from last year at quarterback.
I just think for me, I think everybody like to focus so much on Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, and people make these predictions based off those two. I just think for me personally, for me personally, I think I just really believe in Todd Monken's, what Todd Monken is trying to do. I know people who know Todd Monken personally, and they talk about the type of man he is, the type of coach he is. When I've read everything I could read about him since he's been a head coach and watched some of the videos of what he did at Baltimore and what he did at Georgia, this is a guy that is a great offensive mind. In my opinion, this is a guy that has shown throughout the history of his coaching career that he can design schemes that allow players to play free, fast, and clean, no matter what the talent might look like to other people outside of that building. And I hear him talk about, a coach's number one job is to develop players. And he says that he trusts his players to be, his coaches to be able to develop players. And so I have a belief in our new head coach and what he's trying to do, that he can get more out of the talent that was already here, and that he can coach these young guys up and have them in a situation to where they can exploit what they do well earlier than not.
What would be a disappointment for you for this season? What's a disappointing season?
A disappointing season to me, well, win record wise, probably
Sure.
like 5 wins.
5 wins.
What we did last year.
What about you? What's a disappointment and what's a success?
I don't think there's anything. I have no expectations for this team.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win more than 6 games, I think that's a huge win.
I totally agree.
For what they're trying to build. If they won 3 games, I wouldn't. My mind doesn't change on the team and where they're headed, whether they have 5 wins or have 2 wins. I think they're going to be a below average team this year, a rebuilding team that's going to try to find out who they are, what their identity is. Do they have a quarterback on the roster that they can count on? Do they not have a quarterback on the roster that they can count on? And then obviously evaluating what's coming out in college.
I got a question.
If it's worth it.
Mike, can you look up the Browns record in 2019? I think there's something to be said about having, new energy, new blood, a fresh face in the building. And, I am a big Browns fan, newsflash to anybody. Mm-hmm. But I remember coming off that disappointing 2019 season, Kevin Stefanski got the job, and even in those situations with COVID, this was a first-time head coach in a situation to where COVID didn't allow him to even be around his team. And so there was so many unexpecteds that you didn't know. Mm-hmm. And the Browns were much better than what people projected them to be. I just think there's a human element to everything. And these dudes is amped to go out here and play for Todd Monken. And I just think some of that stuff might contribute to a win or two. I don't know, but those things are possible.
2020, Baker played really well. They obviously had Nick, they had Miles, they had a really good offensive line. Now you can look and say, well, they've got Quinshawn, they've got Miles.
COVID year.
And they've got a really good offensive line. Well, I don't know if they got a really good offensive line. I don't know.
Right.
They addressed their needs. I don't know if they filled them. We'll find out in September how well they filled them. And the COVID year thing is interesting because I've had more than one person say there was nobody in the building and it was all football. That was it. There was nothing else except football. And it's no surprise that that's why they had their
I just
their
bring it
best
up
season.
Because there's been plenty of times that, the Browns have been in a situation to where a season that you expect them to do well, they underperform in a major way. Coaching change happened. Everybody got this new energy. Everybody's amped up.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the Browns turn around and have a season that was beyond what people's expectations were.
I'm frankly, I'm a little surprised that it's 6.5. That sounds high to me. I don't know about you. You're more the gambler.
I think 6.5. I mean, 5.5 probably would be where I'd put it.
That's where I would put it, is 5.5.
I bet
what was the last
I bet
year,
you
4.5?
over 6.5 is probably like even money. I bet you it's probably like minus 140 or something for the under 6.5.
What was it last year? 4.5?
I think 5.5.
Was it 5.5
believe
last
so.
year?
I feel like it was 5.5 last year.
I believe it was 5.5.
Okay. So Vegas is giving them one more win this year.
They had a nice draft. I mean, last year's draft was really good.
Yeah.
I mean,
the pieces are there. Like you see what's coming.
Sure. And look, the trajectory of this franchise in terms of like Andrew Berry drafting last year, this year, seeing all these pieces come together, it looks good on paper.
I think they're one more draft and one more year away.
I would agree with that.
27, I might be with you on 8, 9 wins, 10 if everything breaks right.
I think if you get 8 wins in 27, you're heading the right way.
Yeah, I think for me 27 is that's sort of the target year, and I think that's how they're sort of looking at it. I've said that before. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the radio play-by-play guy of the Toledo Rockets on EMW and what the Browns can expect out of their new draft pick. Next on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.